Hey, what's up everyone? Paul from Grindhouse Funhouse, and I have a fondness for the year 1991. For me, that was my formative year when it comes to movies. It was a time when I could manage to see 2 movies a week in theaters, Tuesdays and Fridays, without fail, and movies from that year are still some of my favorite to this day. Why am I telling you this? Because you care what I think and feel, but also from time to time, I like to go back to that year, see what movies I somehow didn't get to see then so I could see them now. One of them was McBain, a James Glickenhaus written and directed actioner starring Christopher Walken, María Conchita Alonso, Michael Ironside, and Steve James. It's about McBain, played by Walken, a prisoner of war in Vietnam who's rescued by a fellow soldier who he feels owes him a debt of gratitude that can be called upon at any time. 18 years later, said soldier has become a freedom fighter, wanting to free his people from El Presidente's dictatorship, and gets murdered for it. Her sister, played by María Conchita Alonso, aware of this debt, comes to New York to seek out McBain to help her avenge her brother's death and, as an aside, overthrow the Colombian government and give the country back to its people while blowing a lot of shit up and murdering a lot of people along the way with the help of his war buddies. So this was one of those movies from the VHS era days where I would always see the cover for it, but never actually bothered to check it out. And there was even this hook, this funny hook, where I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, was The Simpsons, naming one of their characters McBain, an action movie star obviously based on Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the producer of them said no to The Simpsons using the name McBain, so they used his real character birth name, Rainier Wolfcastle. But anytime I would hear the name McBain, this beautiful character would come to mind.
Mendoza!
And not so much this one, but the movie was a flop. And nobody remembers Christopher Walken as McBain, so it was all for naught. And there's a good reason for that. It's just an okay action movie. In James Glickenhaus' filmography, The Exterminator, The Soldier, The Protector, and Shakedown, I'd put it towards the bottom of the list. So, alright, this is your spoiler warning. If you don't want to get spoiled about McBain, go to this time code right here. So, a movie with Vietnam as part of its story, of course your opening sequence will take place in the Vietnam jungle. A squad of soldiers that includes most excellent 80s action mainstays Michael Ironside and the late great Steve James, and also Thomas J. Waits from The Warriors, finds out the war is over and they're flying out in an helicopter, and on their way out spots a POW camp and decides to go down to check it out.
Do you see it? It's a bamboo dome!
What do you want to do?
I want to check it out!
That's when we're introduced to McBain, who's in a cage match to the death in a bamboo thunderdome. That should be a real event, with a Viet Cong soldier until the squad comes in and blows shit up. Kill people left and right Rambo style, and McBain gets freed. McBain, feeling grateful, says he owes Santos, the squad leader, for saving his life.
I owe you.
So Santos pulls out a $100 bill, tears it up in 2, and tells him if ever this half of this bill finds him, he can pay him back. That's not too subtle of a setup. So from there, 18 years passes. Santos is now a revolutionary leader in Colombia, but really the Philippines, where most of the movie was shot. And he's gonna try with his brothers in arms to infiltrate El Presidente's palace to take it over and free the people. But we wouldn't have much of a movie if he succeeded now, so he gets overtaken and gets his head blown off on live TV, which just so happens McBain sees while enjoying a beer at his favorite bar. So we cut to María Conchita Alonso playing Santos' sister Cristina, who was told by her brother before he left that if ever something happens to him, go seek out McBain if she needed help. So she does just that, hops on her donkey, and heard in the background is one of the worst songs you could ever imagine soundtracking the scene, that was written by Mark Knopfler of all people, leaves her village to New York City. She finds McBain, they get to talking, he goes on this weird I was in Woodstock story, and I ask her how much money the Liberation Army got.
It's not enough. Is there a quarter in there?
Which isn't much, so McBain gets the whole squad together again to go on this mission. So we find out what those men have become since those days in the jungle. Steve James is now a bodyguard, one of them is a surgeon, Warriors guy is a cop, and my man Michael Ironside is a very wealthy arms dealer sporting a bitching ponytail like only men in the 80s were so confident to pull off. So he's gonna sell them arms for a deal because of the old days, but McBain still has to find a way to fund this whole operation. So he goes after drug dealers in the hood to steal their money. it's there that we get a sweet, sweet cameo from the one and only Luis Guzman, the Goose himself. Always one of the best part of any movies from the late 80s to the mid 90s. The Goose tells McBain, why are you going after small-time players like me when you could go after the big fish like a big mafia boss?
You guys want money? Why don't you go after what's his face? John Gambatti? He's got the money. Well, I got his table drippings.
So they kidnap one, and in a great shot hangs him over nothing in a tiny little chair. McBain pulls an accent, says he's from Mossad, and extort $10 million from the hanging Don. So now they're going to Jamaica to borrow one of Pablo Escobar's planes to fly that bad boy to Colombia. We get a slightly humorous scene from the doctor who's in charge of flying the plane, which he hasn't flown one in forever. He decides to get out the manual to learn how to fly one up again, which worries Steve James.
How long?
18 years?
18 years, shit.
Meanwhile, Christina and her rebel friends are trying to take control of a beach where the plane will land. Fighter jets from the Colombian Air Force are tracking their planes, so Ironside calls his guy from an airbase nearby to get protection. And in a glorious scene that has to be seen to be believed, McBain, with one single precise shot sitting in the passenger seat no less, is able to kill a fighter jet pilot sitting in his cockpit.
Put the plane down. Do you read me? Do you read me? Charlie 704. Put the plane down.
So that bullet has to go through 2 panes of glass in midair, mind you, to get to that beautiful, improbable kill shot. And McBain had to, of course, get that one-liner out to put the cherry on top.
We reach you loud and clear.
Then we get a sequence out of Top Gun with them fighting with the remaining fighter jet with the help of the American fighter pilot getting them out of this jam. They're getting closer to the beach that Christina is trying to take over. So much shit is blowing up, so much senseless killing, the very thing you would want from a Glickenhaus movie where shit always blows up real good. So everyone gets murdered, they get to land their plane, but they still have 2 fighter jets coming their way. So we get another I need to read the manual scene that is a running gag now, trying to figure out how to use a rocket launcher to blow up them jets, and they do. El Presidente meets up with Pablo Escobar, who's not happy that he's fucking it up with his drug trade, with all that's happening with the rebel army. So El Presidente sends out 2 choppers to destroy a village as a warning to McBain and the rebels. Everyone feels sadness from this senseless act, but now they're determined more than ever to go through with it. Night falls, and Christina, with the help of the doctor and Steve James, break into a TV station so she can give an impassioned plea to her people to rise up and show up at El Presidente's palace.
Help us. Join us. Come to Bogota, just until El Presidente steps down.
Meanwhile, McBain and the American fighter pilot steals a fuel truck that can be used to get into the palace's gate and blow shit up real good. But for the truck to stay in a straight line, the All-American sacrifices himself for the good of the cause. Your death will not be in vain, young man. Then we get a very well choreographed scene of mayhem and bloodshed as the rebels and the people who showed up to support them gets mowed down as they try to get in through the gate. Just a magnificent orgy of violence. We get a shot of Walken being a badass, shooting nonchalantly his machine gun. All this is leading to McBain breaking into El Presidente's office, falling through the ceiling and killing good. He gets the 2 halves of the $100 bill Santos gave him out of his socks, put them together, and leaves it on El Presidente's dead corpse. McBain comes out of the balcony where El Presidente would show himself to be all-powerful and throws his hat in the crowd as they cheer. The doctor lands a plane on the palace's step while doing donuts. Christina comes out of it and she's hailed as their new queen. Everyone is cheering. Nice, happy Hollywood ending. The end. A few more things. We get a nice cameo from director James Glickenhaus playing a CIA agent driving a bitching speedboat. As for the movie and its 2 physical media releases, it had a DVD release from Arrow Video back in 2011. That same year, Synopsis Films were promised a Blu-ray of a 2K scan that we're still waiting on, but if you know Synopsis Film, that's part of their business model, making us wait years for a release, so it's to be expected. I got this German all-region Blu-ray copy released by NSM Records in 2018 that does the job. It's a pretty good transfer. We even get a making of, featurettes, and intro from James Glickenhaus as special features. So yeah, get on it if you want to own the movie. So would I recommend McBain? You know, for a movie that's about the liberation of its people, stopping the violence El Presidente has been unleashing on them for years, they sure kill a lot of people to get to that point along the way. And I think it is glorious. If the internets are to be believed, the body count in McBain is nuts. Close to 250 kills, 30 people are gunned down and knifed just during the POW camp scene alone. McBain has a pretty badass cast with some amazing responsible stunt work and squibbage, while Christopher Walken seems to be sleepwalking, or is that sleepwalking, through this role, giving minimal efforts. In his deadpan performance, it's still cool to see him in his one and only true action hero role. Michael Ironside had watched in anything. Steve James, a bona fide action hero, was not used enough in McBain, which is a shame. The only one that came through was María Conchita Alonso, who seemed to take it all very seriously. She was feeling this part, almost as if she knew of this life. This old man last hurrah, I'm too old for this shit mission movie was made in 1990, but feels like a mid-80s canon film, which is quite the positive in my book. It's just a fun and dumb movie elevated by a hell of a cast with Christopher Walken at the top of the call sheet. I'm giving it 7 Rainier Wolfcastle out of 10. So that was my review for McBain. Go visit all my socials at Grindhouse Funhouse. In the comment section below, let me know your thoughts on McBain and its incredible cast. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do let me know. More action movie reviews coming up soon, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll say to you, ciao bye for now.